Please, turn off the ad block, subscribe, and share. Links will be below for anyone wanting to support this channel.
Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett and I'm the founder and owner of TechViews and Help, and today we are doing another Windows Universal Application tutorial. And in today's tutorial I'm going to teach you how to add a map into your application. Now as far as this application goes, I already have a few things set up, so I'm going to do a quick session to show you how to get caught up where I'm at. But as far as that goes, if you haven't seen my previous videos, check them out on Windows Universal Application stuff, and that way you're caught up on that. Now let's jump on into this. And as far as what I've done so far is I made a brand new page, and that's pretty simple. If you don't know how to do that, check out my previous videos on Windows Universal Applications. And by the way, one thing you can do, if it might help, is on the description, one of the links is to my GitHub page, and this will be on the GitHub page. It's open source, so you can take a look at it, and I'm currently working on it, so it'll be a little while before it comes out to the Windows Store. But as far as this goes, you can take a look at it, play with the code, do whatever you want, even add to the code if you want, and go from there. And I have a few applications like this coming out. So as far as that goes, to get to this point, make a new page, and from here we're defining our grid, rows, and columns. Because I'm not sure if I covered this, the grids are basically anchor points in a nutshell, where on Android and Apples and Apple coding and some other stuff, you'll have some type of anchor points. It might not be named anchor, but at the end of the day, it's basically that. It's some point on the screen where when you resize, everything within that resizes. Same thing here, but keep in mind that it's up to you on what rules you want to make. When it gets so small, what do you want to happen? Like, say for example, and I'm not adding it into this to keep it simple, but say if I wanted to, if someone made it so small, the map will just overtake the entire thing, or the code will overtake the entire thing. So you could do that, and with this, which is actually pretty neat. Now as far as this goes, what I want to do with this is I want to have the left side be the map, the right side to be the code, and the top portion to be the user interface code, and the bottom portion to be the background code, which I haven't set up yet, by the way. The way to do that is by making the grid, rows, and columns up and down, rows left and right. And how I do it, and this is a personal thing, how I do it is I do a star. The star says take up how much you need, and if it's only one, it'll just take up the entire thing, and there's no point of even have a definition to it. But if you have multiple, and it says, okay, I need as much as I can take, and the other one says the same, and because of that, it's half, and so on. And that way we're not defining anything. If someone resizes it, it's always in the middle. And same thing with columns. Now with the this, you might be saying, well, how did you get this to be the map to be covering both areas, or is that two maps? And no, that is one map. So to do that, what we need to do is start a new line of code and say grid column, and say what column it's in. And for this, you won't see it right now because the map is up and running, but when I'm dealing with things like this, especially dealing with very particular stuff. I like to have the backgrounds colored. So I have a background gray. Don't worry about that. If you don't want that in, then don't have it in. But for me, it doesn't hurt since the person can't see it. And it's just for your easement when you're working on this stuff. But to expand this from this row to this row, I did a grid row span, and what that done is it allowed me to span over across multiple rows. So therefore I can keep the columns in rows, but the left side will be populated purely with the map. Now to get a map control, I just type in, go to toolbar, type in map, throw to map control, and take out everything besides what you see. Put in X name, and then within the name it whatever you want. That's personally up to you, and that's the map. Now let's get into the buttons, because you can throw the map on there and that's fine, but I can't do anything unless if I can't do much unless you throw the buttons up. And with that, you do a stack panel, horizontal orientation horizontal, so it's horizontal, and then vertical alignment top, and tell where to put it. So with here, to make the buttons, what I done is, if you do app bar button, then label, this text is reflected onto here. And I don't know if I can zoom in on that to help you out. So right there. And the click is just for your back end stuff. The background, that's so, otherwise it's transparent. You'll run into problems. So like for example, if we just take that out, and you see here it's now transparent, and we'll run into problems. So we want that to be shown, and that's up to you, but for the most part that's what we need. Same thing with rest. Now the icon, these you can go through the icon list, but you can also add icons into here. But the icon, you can get the icons from here. Just start typing in whatever, and you can see if it already has an icon for that, or you can add icons. I'll get into how to add icons in a later video, and if I forget to do it, then let me know, or if you want to know how right now, and just let me know, and I'll try to help you out as best I can. Now as far as the zoom, you might be saying, well, how did I get this on the bottom, and particularly how did I get it on the right side? To do that, the vertical alignment, instead of doing top, I did bottom, so it puts it on the bottom. Then I added a horizontal alignment and told it to go to the right, so it's on the right. You could do center, right, left, stretch, but for me I just did it right. And with this, just same thing as I did up there. It's pretty straightforward. So yeah. Now off camera, I'm going to add the text here, basically do a copy and paste and do the text here, but for the most part I'm trying to do the user interface up here, and then the background text there. So let's start doing the background. Now one thing I want to mention is, if you use the map as provided, the map itself is the drawn map. It's not the satellite view. So for this, I'm going to show you how to get a satellite view, but keep in mind, if you just want it to be the drawn map, then fine. But what I found is, for many projects, you probably are going to end up trying to switch it to satellite view. The thing to keep in mind with satellite view is you might want to take a look to see if you can actually see what you want to see, and things may change over time. because keep in mind we're using Bing Maps. It's if you're doing Android, you're going to be using Google Maps, so it's just part of the system. Just roll with it. But the other thing to keep in mind is to draw maps you can zoom in more, whereas these you can't. The satellite view you can't. So that can be a big thing, a huge thing to keep in mind. So with this, what we need to do is go to the thing, and let's make the map style a what did I name it? The map style, something that we can use. So it's doing Windows UA map, or whatever you name yours, style equals map style dots aerial 3D roads. And just add that up there so it can use it. And now whenever it pulls up, it's going to use the satellite map. So with this, what we need to do is go and start defining a few things. We need to do the center. Where do we want the map? So when UA oh, sorry, getting ahead of myself. Protect override. Void on navigate to and do window or one UA map, or whatever you name the map, center. So we're saying what's the center of it, equals new Windows dot devices dot geolocation dot geo point new Windows dot devices dot geolocation dot basic geo position latitude equals something, comma, one sec. There we go, comma, get rid of the M. Longitude equals something, comma. Let's close that off. Let's make it easier to read. And let's set the zoom level. So when UA map dot zoom level equals let's say 20. And you might want to play around to zoom level, because basically what's saying is when the application, or at least when the page starts up, the center of the geo position should be here as far as the latitude and longitude. So wherever the center of this is, that's where it's going to try to take it on a map. And the zoom is going to be on level 20. So you might want to play around with the zoom and play around with the geolocation. And to find his geolocation, let's use the White House as a representative for this example, since that's going to be a stagnant position. And you go to Google Maps, find wherever you want, and go to what's here. Right click, go to what's here. Then down here, hit the latitude and longitude, and that's what you want. Is you want to copy that over to the thing. So latitude and then longitude. So now it's going to be looking at the White House, or at least it's going to be looking at here, wherever that dot is. And that's pretty important to realize. So if you wanted a specific location, you might want to make sure that you get exact. So instead of it being right in the middle of the White House, it's going to be somewhere over, I don't know, wherever. I think the 3D thing on Google's messing up the exact. But anyways, as far as that goes, now that we have that, let's set up the buttons in itself, and that way we can move on. So what we want to do is do another private void, and this is for the button. So whatever you named the button, I actually have to go back and look at it. So for this, shops. And you can also do this, by the way. I think it's, sorry, wrong button. Hit F12 and it does the same thing. So you don't have to type all that crap out, in case if you're wondering a quick method of doing it. In fact, let's just do that for the others. Hit F12, puts that out. I believe with this it won't even let you build it unless you do that, which is kind of weird because other things let you build. So now we got our buttons here. I want to, for this, I'm going to put a comment and put zoom so I know what exactly is what. And since it's just a few buttons, I'm not going to worry too much about it. But what I normally do is do a comment before and after each button. So like for this, I'll just put shop, and then here I'll put homes and clear and so on. And what that would do is it would make it easier for me or anyone else who's editing to understand what I'm doing and what do I want. So now what I want to do is do a VAR, stroke color, equals colors Let's do a dark blue. Yeah, it should have added that. VAR, fill, color, equals, color, dot, oops, blue, I'll fix that later. For each VAR variable DAT object and point areas VR shape, and we're doing the shape here, new map polygon. So you might notice real quick you have a few options, but we're just going to do polygon. Brackets, stroke thickness, stroke color. That's going to give me a pain. Comma after each one of these. Three. And that's just how thick it is. Fill color. False to that. If I'm going too fast, by the way, let me know. I don't know everybody's skill level. C index 3 path equals new geopath. Data objects. Points. Select P equals greater or whatever P dot position. And I gotta set that up in another thing, by the way. Let's close that out and then do a shape. Add data. Data object. And then when whatever our map name is. UA map, map elements, add shape. So some of these things I gotta go in here and modify. And because this video is already about going on 30 minutes, I'm just going to clear out this. We're just going to add one button. So, yeah. And now, as far as the clear goes, it's pretty simple. What you do is do a window or whatever you name your map element, clear, close it. I mean, it's simple. Now, as far as the zoom, let's work on that real quick before we close this out. Variable new zoom equals map dot zoom. Oops. Zoom level 8. Does this zoom in or zoom out? -1. If new, so we're making an if statement, zoom that one, new zoom equals 1. So it's basically telling you that if you're already at 1, like the lowest level, then it doesn't try to go any further. Map zoom crap. This autocomplete's messing me up. Zoom level equals new zoom. And let's put in this. It's pretty much the same. In fact, it's very similar. We're doing a plus instead of minus. For this, we don't need it. In fact, let's start from here. Let's reverse. So map dot max zoom level equals that. And that's basically saying that for this for this basically it's saying if the zoom level is already at 1, don't go any further than that. And if this is saying the opposite. The reason for that is you can easily mess up some other processes on your application, and this prevents it if you ever do run into that type of level. Now I'm going to be doing something a little weird for this next part, but it's recommended from Microsoft to do it like this so you don't have a problem. They are written out, and it's kind of weird that they don't just package it in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 classes into here, and it's already written out and everything. We just got to add it in. And for this I got to copy and paste it because Some of the code's going to be slightly different because of one application to the next. So what I would advise at this point is look for the class that I'm going to add and just copy and paste it into your own stuff. Change a few things what's needed, but just copy and paste whatever. So with this, we're going to go to project and add class. And what we're going to add is map extension. And I'm just going to copy and paste the stuff from my other screen into here. In fact, so that's what I advise you to do. That's the reason why I'm doing it instead of just having it already. And then for these, just do show potential fixes and do that type of thing. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. And that's how you do it, and to get rid of those errors and get it to read and understand everything. Now, as far as the other, we're going to add another class, and this is going to be called map element data. And for this, paste that, and same thing as before. We do that and it will just fix itself. And lastly, we got one more, and this is just I'm just grabbing this from one of my other applications so we can quicken this up a bit. Sorry for the time it's taken, but not much you can do about that. And the positions, you want to know the exact positions you want to use. And from here, we want to use the following, and that fixes all of that. Yeah, we want to put the exact positions that we want that will be relative to this. And to speed things up, I just kind of fixed the code that I threw in here. So for this particular example, what we want to do is, in a later video, I'm going to do maps in other portions of this applications. So I'm going to show what happens if you got multiple maps. I'm even going to do a weather map and everything else. This is just a basic understanding of this to help you get started. But again, this stuff will be on GitHub. Copy and paste it. The parts that you want to change is this, and you need to change it to the go to Google Maps. I changed the destination, by the way, to the White House, so it's a little bit more recognizable. And I said this is a shopping area. I don't know if that is or isn't because I've never been there before. I want to, but never had a chance. And because I'm going to say this is the shopping area, I'm going to mark each corner and put it here. Now, if I wanted to do a more complex design, like say for example here or whatever, then what I can do is I can add more points into here. and that'll make more of a complex design. Also, I can change things around, which I'm going to show you in a second. What happens when you change things around, you can get a little bit more complex design and things. So with this, here is the satellite map. Again, this is from the code we put here. That's where we got our satellite map. If you wanted roads, you can just take that out and you have the roads. And again, as I said with the Google Maps, I said like right there, I think it might be right there as far as that is. So we click the shop and it fills in the area with a design of our choice here. Now the thing to keep in mind, the how maps work is it's several layers, and this is just one of the layers on it. So for example, if we went over this road and stuff, the road name and many of these other things will be on top of this, but the actual pictures, this is we're on top of the pictures. So that's the thing to keep in mind. Now let's say we want to do a complex design. What I could do is just move something around and we can get a complex design like a bow tie, and give it a second or two, and as you see there, we can get like a bow tie looking thing with the complex design. So it's pretty important to keep in mind where you're putting your points. Other boards you can easily mess yourself up, and you as you're doing it in business and whatever, keep in mind things so your client is happy with it. And it's not that hard to put proper latitude and longitude in there. Obviously you're not going to get 100% exact as far as this little exact corner there, but we have that. Now we can clear it out with that. So we can also zoom in, zoom out, type of thing right there, and that's that. But as far as that goes, I highly advise you to go ahead and play around with the code, and that way you can get familiar with the stuff. If you break it, obviously you can copy the stuff over and try it again. There's no harm in it at all. And you're not going to edit my stuff without me knowing about it, and whatever you do on here is not permanent. You got an undo button and all that other stuff. I highly advise you to play around with it so you can get familiar with it, and you can do advanced things. You can say where's the residential zones, where's the commercial zones. If you're doing a city app, if you're doing applications for selling houses, you can actually mark it by different colors for the prices of the house, things of this nature. And it's very neat. You can get very neat very quick on your abilities on this, but it's really up to you. And I might actually make not a full application for what happens if you're selling houses, but a example base, and that way you can say here's the lots that are high price, here's the lots that are low price, and that way you can give your clients a good idea. Or you as a maker, a developer like myself, you can get a good idea. Since it's a realistic idea, you could end up making an application like this for a real estate agent or whatever. So anyways, as far as that goes, and if you do like that idea, then let me know. But as far as that goes, feel free to let me know what you want the next video to be on, if you like this video, and also if it's helped you out. Now, if you want to help us grow, go to Patreon and donate there to help us grow. If you like this channel, then leave a like, subscribe, share. And if you don't like this for whatever reason, then go ahead and leave a dislike, but let me know down below why, so I can fix it in future videos. Again, sorry about the length. There's not much I can do about it in these coding videos, but I just want to be thorough as possible for anyone wanting to learn. Again, this has been Craig Bennett, founder of Tech Views Nope, and hope you have a great day.